Hey, and we are the Coalition Loud and Proud, Outrage Porn-Free, Civilly Disobedient Media. It's a rainy morning, but spirits are bright. Right now, as we speak, a bazillion little kiddos, tots, crazy kids are on their way back to school for the first time in what is going to be an incredible new home for them. I'm standing here across the school. It's pouring out. But again, spirits are bright. Dr. Cheryl McWilliams, she is the superintendent of the City of Pawtucket school system. First of all, despite the weather, congratulations. You can see the buses are starting to pull in. Congratulations on what has got to have been a singular effort to pull this together.
Well, it's not a singular effort. It actually takes a collaborative effort from many people to make something like this happen. So good morning to everyone. Yes, as you said, excitement is in the air. Although it's raining, we are cheerful and excited to welcome in our students, Henry J. Winters Elementary School, for this brand new build.
Well, and that's exactly what I wanted to talk about briefly this morning. And I think we'll have another conversation soon about the type of collaboration that took place both at the state and city level to make this happen. Now, it's interesting because it's a very different look than that day several months ago when General Treasurer Seth Magaziner had his campaign announcement in front of what was essentially a field of rubble with lots of signs put up and folks getting to work. Now we see months later the finished product. Folks will attach to this the tour we did the other day. Is an amazing building. If you grew up in the Catholic schools of New Jersey as I did, it's an alternate reality because collaborative space is bright and airy. You know, the paint scheme is designed to encourage, energy. It's not like anything that I've ever seen, and the best part about it, it's in a city in the urban core, right here in Pawtucket.
Yeah.
We're not at one of the bougie cities out on the East Bay or anything. This is Pawtucket. Now, you work closely with now, please, this is where I need to be informed, the Infrastructure Bank and also the State School Committee building organization. Tell us just a little bit about that process.
Yes, and first I do want to say too that I'm also a born and raised Pawtucket person. And boy, when I went to elementary school in the 1960s, I would have loved to have a building like this. As you said, bright and cheery, 21st century learning. So as far as having a building and constructing a building of such that we see here before us this morning, it's all about collaboration. It starts with our state officials lifting that moratorium on school construction back in the 16 and 17, which was under, as you said, Treasurer Seth Magaziner. And then it's actually the city officials, our mayor, our school committee, taking up the charge and saying, you know what, there is funding to be done and we're going to go after it. And so that's what they've done. So we have went out for bonds, and the residents, we have to thank the voters, because when you go out for a bond to have a build such as this, you have to have the support of those residents. And when you get reimbursement, then it makes it worth the while. When you're talking about a reimbursement of 80, 85, and upwards percent, it is worth the build. So as you said, it takes a collaborative effort, and it doesn't stop there, right? Once you have that bond, then you have to put some action steps to it. You have to design a plan, and that's when it takes your partners, your construction managers, your OPM, your project managers. So it's truly a collaborative effort that we are so excited about. And I will say this, that we're welcoming our students this morning at Henry J. Winters, but shortly around the corner this fall we'll be breaking ground and bringing down Elizabeth Baldwin Elementary School on the other side of the city for a complete build as well. And then hopefully shortly thereafter we'll be looking at a high school on the McCoy site. So there's a lot happening in Pawtucket, and it is the place to be.
Well, I years ago when Mayor Grevian first got elected, I drew an analogy. To me, Pawtucket is the Brooklyn to Providence and Manhattan. Infinitely cooler, infinitely more interesting, infinitely more livable, a city still of neighborhoods. It's a wonderful place, and today is a testament, like you said, to the community. Just briefly on the notion of a complete rebuild versus the sort of patchwork construction that we've seen in Rhode Island for decades. What was the deciding factor behind that? So
actually, when you talk about building construction, you really have to look at the bones or the skeleton of the building, what makes the building stand. So back in 2017 and in 18, we actually had a complete remodel of Potter Burns Elementary School in Nathaniel Elementary School. Nathaniel Green is off of Smithfield Avenue. Potter Burns is off of Newport Avenue. Both of those buildings are absolutely stunning and beautiful, but they had good bones. So they were built in the early 1900s, and they had good bones, so making a renovation to those schools was the right way to go. With a complete build, you have to look at the structure of the building, and the structure of the old Henry J. Winters Elementary School was not one that could sustain a renovation. It needed a complete new, raising to the ground and rising up a new one, which is what we will do with Elizabeth Baldwin Elementary.
Now, during the tour, the first thing that struck me was the air conditioning.
Yes. HVAC. So, how we've come so far with technology, because the HVAC system and complete airflow throughout the building is going to have a huge impact on the environment and on learning. We all know that it takes more than just books and staff to have great learning with students. They have to be in an environment that's conducive to learning. In a 21st learning environment, like as you said, there's common spaces, there's places for the students to break out and work in groups, and just the whole philosophical view of the way students learn is very different than the way you and I learned many years ago.
And I was struck by, when I walked in, the mixture of new and old. Each of the classrooms have already been moved into by the teachers this weekend, so you had that personal touch that only a teacher can create in making a classroom a home. But at the same time, you had 21st century whiteboards. Obviously, the tech influence is strong. So it appears what you've accomplished is sort of this beautiful marriage between tech and that wisdom and practice and skill set that only a teacher can really provide.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you recognize that, because our teachers are the heart of all of the learning. What we see around us are really just tools. So it's like knowing what tool to take out of the tool belt is what our teachers do. So they are the first line, they are the most important, they are the key to the learning of our students. And then when you wrap around them the right environment, and then you give them the tools that they need, then they can do the job that they need to do, and our students are benefiting from it.
Last question. In doing the tour, it struck me that this has got the potential to be more of a year-round facility than just limited to the academic conventional school year. Will there be, in fact, or are there discussions being held about having summer schools and other educational programs year-round?
So actually, we already do have summer learning in our schools throughout the summer, but we do like to focus on those buildings that have air conditioning. So now we have added yet another building that has air conditioning. So certainly we will have enrichment programs and summer learning programs here throughout the summer.
Excellent. Well, again, do I call you commissioner? Director?
No. Superintendent.
Superintendent, thank you. Again, congratulations. Again, the final note here is pouring out. The skies are dark, but you'll be there to see the look on these kiddos' faces when they kind of, that moving chaos that is lower schools everywhere, kind of that cloud of kids as they move in. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Pat. And in just a short bit of time, you'll see buses rolling in, and the students are already, some of them already arriving, because they are very excited. So thank you so much. It's a great day here in Pawtucket.
We'll see you again.
Okay.